We have a name, we have almost a time, and we have a game. Today we're here to talk about Stage Tour.
Cena's Corner, world's #1 rhythm game reviewer.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to an episode of Cena's Corner. Of course, I'm your man, Cena, back to talk about what we all love, what this channel started with, rhythm gaming. I told you guys, you watched my last couple of videos. I did one where I was playing Car Dealer Simulator, and I told you that when I got more information, I would come back and we would indeed talk Stage Tour. We didn't know the name at that point. Turns out that they were at IGN Game Fest in February, and that's when they announced this. So we're going to talk about it today. I'm going to tell you what I did find out, what they announced, what my 2 cents is. And I think that I probably have a 2 cents because I've been around this scene for a long period of time. There's a guy they have on their team with Red Octane named Asai. You probably know him. He's been around about as long as I have. He's been playing what they call 5 Freight games now since 2018. He's really good at it, but they have him, I think, as like a community manager, whatever the case is. So I'm here to do what I do best, and that's talk about rhythm gaming. Before we begin, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that button, subscribe, follow. Also, I hope you're enjoying the other videos I've been putting up. We've got 2 episodes of 26 GM mode, the Chat GPT War Room Edition, and I'll be hitting you really soon with a playthrough, starting a series of Car Dealer Simulator. But today is all about Stage Tour. So let's go ahead and dive into that and tell you what it is that I do know and what it is that I don't know at this point, because to be honest with you, the devs didn't say a whole lot. So for what we do know, the name of the game is Stage Tour. It's coming your direction fall 2026. And if you want, you can go right now, sign up and join the next gaming rhythm era, as they say, but put your email in there. And when things happen, Red Octane's going to let you know. They have some very big hitters when it comes to sponsors or associations. So, of course, Red Octane is the company putting this out. They are no stranger to this, right? They were behind the whole entire Guitar Hero scene. So they got Gibson, Epiphone, Kramer, Mesa Boogie, and of course, Cracked. We're going to be talking a little bit about Cracked because of the fact that I still have to come do a full review on it, but here is my Cracked guitar. And I've had it for a few months now, and I'm telling you, if there's ever been a perfect guitar, if this isn't perfect, it's very close, especially with the options they give you. It's the first guitar I've ever had, and I've had many of them that has an app. Yeah, my guitar has a number and all that kind of good stuff. So very big hitters coming out the gate. So they tell you that you can build your band, pick your style on the stage. Stage Tour is a rhythm action game that blends familiar, accessible note highway gameplay with exciting modern twists. It's poised to rekindle the flame of classic instrument rhythm gaming with new features and modes, diverse bandmates and instruments, competitive depth, and seasonal events. So the developers are on Lore Hero episode 120 not long ago, and they were talking about the game. They did go through the FAQ. There were some things that they said, but they didn't say a whole lot because they couldn't. So I'll try to answer those FAQs. You haven't seen that the way that they did. Asai was there, and they already have a set list, bro. They was teasing us. They was like, yeah, you can't see the set list, but we got one. So, and they say that they think the set list is gonna rock. So we're going to see. At the end of this, I'm gonna tell you what I think that they need to do if they're gonna compete with the likes of, I consider the last king of this scene, which is Rock Band. But we get into that at the end. All right, so they have the official game reveal trailer. I am going to say this because I've been hearing a lot of rumblings, and I have to agree with Asai and the developers. And there's another guy, I don't remember his name, but he is covering this game as well, and he said the same thing I'm about to say. So I guess there's a lot of rumblings in the community, whatever the community there is left at this point. And they were complaining about how the game didn't look good, and they didn't like the highway, and they didn't like the way that the notes looked. Look, people, the game isn't even coming out for like the next 6 or 7 months. The developer said it's coming out in the fall of 2026. They can give us a date. They just said fall of, right? So that's at least the next 6 or 7 months. So give us some time. They're still developing the game. I want to remind you that Rock Band, when they came out, they didn't look all good and polished either, and they had a full-fledged release game. Okay, over the years as Rock Band went along, the highways got better, the notes changed, everything was different. So you got to give Red Octane the exact same amount of grace that you gave Harmonix at Rock Band and that you gave Activision when they went and took over Guitar Hero, because they had some stinkers in there too. So if the game is fully released and, they say this is the game you're going to get, and then it looks like something that shouldn't, now you have a reason to complain. But at this point, I don't think anybody has a reason to be complaining, because this is just the first reveal trailer. They just dropped this, and I've known about this game now for like the middle of last year, I think it was. But that's when I found the cracked guitar. So I just want to say that. Give them some slack. Let the developers do what they got to do. So your news and announcements, stage tour, The Journey Begins, and Red Octane Games announces tour, A New Era for Music. This is their press releases that they had just dropped, along with, announcing it at the fest. So what I'm going to do is I'll leave a link down below for this. This is their actual website, stagetour.com. Go visit it, read these, and make sure you stay up to date on what's going on with the game. All right, so here's the FAQ. Here's some questions that was asked. Some you may like, some you may not. We'll try to go this very quickly, but I want to kind of hit on some of these things so that you guys are aware of what to expect. And then I'll try to explain, from what I've known in my years of doing this, over a decade of doing this rhythm gaming thing, why they said the things they do, why they're going to release certain ways, the way the industry's moving, things of that nature. So let's get started. When will Stage Tour be released? I already told you it's going to be sometime in fall of 2026 that they're targeting. They did not give a specific date like developers usually do not. So they'll come back, give us a date pretty soon. One of the developers that was on the podcast did say that they have several dates in mind. So they're not just throwing it out there, but it'll be sometime in fall of 2026. Why is the game called Stage Tour? They said the meaning of the name will become clearer in the coming months as we reveal more of our little secrets. They promised us, if you looked at Lore Heroes podcast, that this was just not a name they picked all willy-nilly. There is some significance behind it, but they're not going to reveal that until later on, so you got to stay tuned for that. What instruments can I play in Stage Tour? Stage Tour can be played solo or with up to 4 players, featuring any mix of lead, groove, drums, and vocals. Each role supports its own dedicated peripherals, along with full gamepad and keyboard capability or compatibility. I'm sorry. So let me tell you what that means. It means there's things that we're going to be able to do that we've never done before in any of the rhythm games. When they said up to 4 players featuring any mix of lead, groove, drums, and vocals, according to developers, that's exactly what they mean. Any mix. You can have 4 basses, you can have 4 guitarists, 4 drummers, 2 drummers, 1 guitarist, whatever you decide that you want to do. However, I think that there will be some type of bonus and stuff for playing the original, OG band way, but you have a lot of ways to play this. And then on top of that, you're going to get gamepad and keyboard compatibility. Let me tell you what I believe that Red Octane is saying to you right there. They're not out to money gouge you. Okay? Because the fact that if they make this available to play with a keypad or a keyboard, that means you don't have to go buy a guitar. And one developer said that. You don't got to buy a peripheral if you have a keyboard or a keypad. We've included that for you. So you can use that. They also started talking about things and ways of people using their older guitars. If you got an old Fender laying around from Rock Band or old Gibson laying around from Guitar Hero, they want you to be able to use those in the game. I love developers like this. Developers like this is what makes me want to go and spend money and buy things from them, because they're not forcing me to. They can give me a bundle, not forcing me to. Okay, so you got to take that into consideration. Also, the next question is, what platforms will Stage Tour be on? We're planning to bring the game to a wide range of PC and home console platforms. More details on supported platforms and pre-orders will be announced soon. Let me tell you what they were saying over the Lore Hero podcast. I know the developer didn't want to say it, so I'm going to say it for him, because they started saying that there was a certain console. The certain console probably most likely is Xbox. Microsoft It's very hard to work with. They don't like to give their technology. It's very hard to get them to do anything. There is a cost for every game you play that is not done by Microsoft that has the rights to use things like their controller. So with Rock Band and Guitar Hero, they went through a lot of stuff to be able to have the Xbox controller sensors or whatever it is built into their guitar so they just automatically connect. Without those, you can't just automatically connect it to an Xbox. I'm not even sure you can run a wire if you don't have the technology that they use. So when it comes to games like Stage Tour, going out saying, hey, I want to be on your platform, here's what we're going to bring, it gets very hard. Now, I'm shocked because it shouldn't be that hard because it's Red Octane. It's not like Red Octane is new to the game. Guitar Hero, hello, but still, this is what we go through. It will definitely be on PC. They're working on Xbox, I'm sure PlayStation, but they are working on at least the two major consoles. They're not making any promises. Here's what I'm going to tell you. You guys all know that I'm Mac to my heart. I have been. Regardless of how I feel about the company at this point, I have always been Mac. It would cost me thousands upon thousands of dollars to switch my ecosystem, and I've been using this forever. However, about 2 years ago, I did go out and I bought a PC. If you've been watching my other games that I've been putting on here, those are all ran by my PC at this point. Why did I go buy a PC? Well, because there was games I wanted to play that they weren't coming to Mac and they weren't going anyplace else. Don't get me wrong. There's a couple of games I do play that is fitted for my Mac. You know, Steam does have them for Mac. But if you want the ultimate gaming experience besides a console, you got to go PC. When you go PC, there's a lot of things that you can do you can't do on console, right? One is mod games. And I'm sure Stage Tour is probably going to have a large modded community because of the fact that they're using some of the developers and they have been part of Yard. Yet another rhythm game. Okay, I played a lot of that. You guys may get some gameplay of that too, so you can see how this guitar works and things of that nature. And plus, I've been really enjoying playing Yarg again. But I think that that's where the problem becomes, right? So it's going to be PC or Xbox or PlayStation or all of them, which is what they want to go for. But right now, they can guarantee you PC because their Steam page is already up. You can always wishlist this on Steam. So I just wanted to say this on behalf of the developers who don't know me, but I know how developers get beat up. If for some reason they cannot bring the game to Xbox or PS5, please don't go beating them up. They're trying their hardest. But of course, it takes them and it takes the other companies to sit down and say, all right, we're going to do this. All right, so what type of music will be featured in Stage Tour? Stage Tour feature a wide variety of music focused around the rock and metal genres, though other types of music could show up in the future too. Now, I want to remind you guys of this. They kind of alluded to this because they say, yeah, you know, Guitar Hero, Rock Band, they came out with the metal and rock. But what happened to Rock Band as we went down the years? Okay, we got metal, we got rock, we got R&B, we got pop, we got country. I think you need to have a mixture of that. Now, of course, there's people say, oh, this is called rock band, not country band. Okay, well, here's the deal. You want everybody from every genre to play your game. Everybody's not into metal or speed metal. Everybody's not into rock. There's a lot of metal I don't even like that I didn't like to play when Rock Band had it. But the fact of the matter is, if you put something in the game for everybody, you ensure that you're going to get the audience that you want to play your game. So I implore to the developers, we need some rock, we need some metal, we need some country, we need some pop, we need some jazz, whatever you put in there. There's a couple of people that Rock Band never put in the game. One of them I'm going to mention is probably because it's very complicated, especially now that he's not here anymore and his family is a whole mess. But I just don't think you can have Guitar Hero, Rock Band, or now Stage Tour without Prince. Now, I understand that Stage Tour isn't putting the heavy emphasis on guitar, but Guitar Hero really missed that if they didn't try because they were called Guitar Hero. There is no biggest guitar hero in the planet than Prince was. So, Prince, bring my boy Striper over. I've yet to see them in the game. Whether they're Christian or not, they consider themselves just to be a metal band who happens to be Christian. They are one of the best metal bands out there. I followed them for 35 years. And even though his voice has changed, Michael Sweet still ain't missed a note since. So let's talk about them. Bring some striper in. This is a couple of suggestions I have for y'all, but I think that we do have to have a mixture for everybody to enjoy the game. All right, so the next question is, will a guitar controller be sold with the game? They says, yes, a Gibson Kramer guitar controller bundle option will be available. More details will be shared soon. So that red and white Kramer that you guys saw at the very top is what they're packaging. I'm going to tell you that I'm shocked. The reason I'm shocked is because I expect them to put this one in, the Gibson Cracked, because this is the one that they touted for the last few months. This is the one they released. This is the baby that is excellent. I mean, you got so many controls on here. I mean, this fret comes out and I can actually replace it, just buy another whole fret that has the double, fretboard that has the double buttons on it. I'm shocked. Now, they have their reasoning, and I'm sure Kramer's great, don't get me wrong. But I'm just surprised that they didn't have the cracked guitar. Now, I'm not saying that they may not have a bundle that will do that. Maybe they'll have a cracked bundle. Maybe they have a Kramer bundle. Maybe you get your choice bundle. But the Kramer guitar is the one that they are looking to package this with. Also, they did say that that's maybe not the final look of the guitar. It may be that color, it may not. But the other thing I want to touch on in this area that they answered is, how is the game going to be distributed? Is it going to be a, physical game, or is it going to be a digital game? They pretty much touted and said it's going to be a digital bundle. A lot of people start saying, oh, we'll pay if you want to do, please do an original bundle that has a physical disc. You'll pay for the physical disc. As the developer was saying, he's like, yeah, with the way things is going this day and age, everything's getting distributed, through digital means, and it's easier and shipping. We got to face it as gamers, people. This is the way the industry is going. I really expected it to be an all digital industry about 3 years ago. And I think back then when Xbox was going to do that and PS5 or Sony went out, we're going to let you guys play where you want, we're going to give you a disc, they already pretty much seen the future. If you look across the way that games are distributed now, there's not even a lot of companies that carry disc anymore. It's more convenient for you to go and buy your game off of Steam, download that mug, have it there, and everything's done for you. See, it's always about the convenience. Okay, so if you have a physical copy of the game, you're going to have to make sure it's uploaded, especially if it's on PC. You got to make sure it's updated. You got to make sure that all the patches is there. You got to make sure that things is working right. Well, when you download this from Steam, Steam just goes in, here's all the updates, and fixes it for you. So unfortunately, in my opinion, from what I've seen, the digital age is upon us, and sooner than you think, this will be the premier way and possibly the only way to buy games, especially with the downfall of GameStop. I have 3 GameStops that just closed down around me in the last 6 months. I have 1 GameStop to go to anymore if I want to buy a physical game like that. I'm telling you folks, be aware. Sooner or later, we're no longer going to have what we go and buy physical games. It's all going to be digital. All right, can I get my band's music in the game? And they said, we love to learn more. Fill out the music licensing form and we may contact you for additional details. So if you do have some music of your own that you want to put in the game, that's how you go about it. All right, they also say, how can I stay up to date with all the latest info? Follow at Stage Tour Game on all social platforms and sign up for our mailing list above to get the latest news and updates. How can I get involved? If you guys want to get involved, if you're a creator, musician, member of the press or media, or simply want to get in touch, use the sign-up forms at the bottom of this page to send us your contact information. I will be doing that. Guys, I have been privileged to work with Harmonix. I've been privileged to actually go and sit in the corporate offices at Activision and give my thoughts on games like Guitar Hero and Rock Band. I was given a title over at Harmonix called the Hardware Guru. Rock Band gave me my career. Go back over a decade ago. That's how this started. PV even made a guitar with my face on it. Okay. So I've been around so long that I feel blessed to do this. And I would love to do this with Red Octane. So I would be filling out those forms. I would let them know who I am. I'll send them proof who I am and say, I would love to work with you in the community, because I still believe that I still have a pulse in this community. And I still believe that my opinion is respected. And I think that there's several things that they have to do, which I'm going to say at the end of this video, if they want to make Stage Tour be anything what it is. I should say what it is meant to be, which I know that's what they're striving for. Last couple of questions. Is the community involved in shaping the game? Yes, key figures from the rhythm gaming community are part of the development team, helping ensure the game stays in tune with what matters to the wider community, Asai being one of those community members. Will there be early access or playtesting opportunities? Yes, we plan to have multiple rounds of closed and open testing. Follow us on socials at Stage Tour Game for updates and sign up to be notified. I'm signing up for that too. I would love to be one of the first people to bring you this game and give you my early thoughts to help shape that game even further. And then they ask, where do I join the community Discord? And you can join the Discord here, which I will be joining the Discord. Make sure you guys follow the link, copy that separately and put into the notes of this video so you guys can get it quickly. All right, so that's what we know currently about Stage Tour. Not a lot of stuff. Like I said, they didn't have a lot of things to say. They're still developing the game. Let me say this. They have some big shoes to fill. Even I know that they're coming back, but Guitar Hero and then the Rock Band have been the leaders for the last several years, which I consider Rock Band to be the king of the rhythm game industry up until they decided to develop it more, and now they've put their game into Fortnite Festival. Thing is, here is what I think made Rock Band so successful. And maybe this is why we all got along well, because I say you come up with something and someone else comes and takes it. So if you want to go back and look at it, why I say that is because Guitar Hero was nothing but guitars. That's all they were. It was called Guitar Hero. You got a plastic guitar, you play some songs, that was it. I think if you guys listen to my early videos, I said I thought Guitar Hero was the dumbest thing I'd ever heard, especially with myself being a professional drummer for years. I'm like, this is going to be the dumbest thing. And then one day my wife calls me and says, they have Guitar Hero on sale with the guitar. I think it was like 20 bones. So I'm like, okay, go ahead and pick it up. And I was hooked. I spent 5 hours playing the game. Okay. The concept was excellent. However, when Harmonix took over Guitar Hero, they decided they wanted something bigger. So that's when Activision bought it and they went on their own and they made Rock Band, the first rhythm game at this point that had all 4 people in place. Your singer, your bassist, your guitars, and your drummer all coming together. Soon after that, what happened? Guitar Hero felt like they had to follow suit, came out with several other games, World Tour being one of them, where you had drums and the whole nine, and there you go. Harmonix and Rock Band still led the industry. And here is why I think that they did. First of all, everybody that worked for Harmonix at that time, at least, was a musician. They even had a few of their bands in the game. So when it came to charting, their charting was off the charts because, well, they had real guitarists and they had real drummers charting this stuff. So for one, Red Octane's chart's got to be on point. I know they have several charters that's come over from Yarg and other places, and I, from what I'm hearing, they're top of their game. You would know their stuff if you've seen it. Matter of fact, they're saying some of the charts you may have played on Yarg already was probably done by them, and if that's the case, there's some fabulous charts over at Yarg. So I think they may have that locked down. Listening to the community is another one. The biggest thing Harmonix did was they listened and they cared about the community. There was never a time where you didn't see John Drake addressing anything the community had to say. I sat there at E3 and watched John Drake answer every question that anybody had and did not get annoyed, even though some of the questions asked multiple times. It was all about the community. It was all about what the community wanted. It was all about how can they improve the game. Red Octane has to be all of that. The other thing that Rock Band did is Rock Band became generational. And I can tell you that because my now 16-year-old son was not even born when I started this. And if you were part of the community back then and you was watching my channel, I actually had a contest to guess what his weight would be. So my son was born into this. My daughter's been playing this since she was a little kid. She's now 23. And what I mean by generational is exactly that. It gets passed down generation to generation. My daughter still listens to some songs because it was Rock Band. Whenever she hears it, she goes, that's my childhood right there. Rock Band created the fun, it created the memories, it created the get-togethers, it created the family time. I can't tell you how many Rock Band parties I've had over the years. And now still to this day, people's like, when we gonna have another Rock Band party? So your game has to be that. And I know that one of the developers said they wanted to be that because they're like, hey, I want, kids that's listening to this day to say, hey, I know that song from this. I'm not a big metal guy. Love Dragon Force after I heard Through the Fire and Flames, right? Came to find out that Herman is one of the coolest dudes ever in the world. I mean, he gives people the rights to go play their music and do whatever they want. He even holds little sessions where people will try to do Through the Fire and Flames with guitar, and he'll listen and comment on it. If it wasn't for Rock Band, I would have probably never discovered Dragon Force as a band at all. So it's got to be generational. It's got to be fun to where you sit down at night and say, you know what? I'd rather go play Rock Band. The other thing is the peripherals has got to be on point. This was the one downfall that Rock Band had. This is why Rock Band created a whole lot of entrepreneurs, including myself, because let's all face it, and you know it, when the drums came out, the drums sucked. And for a lot of people, they said they didn't like the guitars because there's a strum bars and whatever, but the guitars is easier to deal with than drums. When you're missing notes here, there, everywhere, they eventually gave us the ability to be able to put a real electronic drum set into the game using MIDI and boxes. And I reviewed like every single box that people made and pad. So I know that they all was out there. Rock Band created entrepreneurs that maybe didn't even need to be created. But you can stop that, Red Octane, by making sure your peripherals is on point. When that drum set go out, make sure you use the best stuff. Yeah, I understand that it's a video game plastic playset, but it's got to stand up for people like me, who is actually a real drummer, who may be heavy-handed in some parts because I've been drumming for almost 40 years. Some things you can't change. Some things you can. So the peripherals has to be on point. And let me remind you that there's a lot of people right now. There's a guy named Preston, because of Rock Band, learned how to play the drums, and now he's up there playing for big old rock bands, Marilyn Manson and a whole bunch of other people. Okay, because of Rock Band. There's a dude that wore over 450 pounds who lost a whole bunch of weight for Rock Band. And because of his weight, he always busted his drum set, and harmonics replaced his drum set every time. And if I remember it right, they also paid for this guy to have the skin removal surgery after he lost all his weight. This is what I mean by being in touch with the community who's using your product. And I do believe that Red Octane is going to do that. So in closing, let me tell you guys, I'm excited. It's been several years now since we've been able to discuss anything rhythm gaming. The rhythm gaming scene as it was dried up. I told you guys in the video when I said I was coming back that a lot of the people that I dealt with, they're gone. Annex is still around, but she has a family, and I think she's waiting around to see what this is going to be. I haven't heard from I Bite Pretty Hard in a long time. Kaylin, knowing that some guy actually went off and he got married, don't know what they're doing. So it is time for a new scene. And I see a lot of new reviewers that's doing the rhythm game thing, and I welcome that. But as an OG who's done this for a lot of years, I thought that it would be remiss for me not to come back when I heard that stage tour was coming. And I think I told somebody, hey man, if any reason anything happens with Rhythm Gaming returns, if I don't just do regular gaming, I'll be back. Here I am. So I'm going to cover stage tour from the beginning to the end. I'll be looking at to see what's going on. I'll reach out to the developers and see what I can get done. But in the meantime, guys, go to stagetour.com. I will put that link down here. Sign up with your email so we will know everything that's going to happen as it drops, especially if you want to be one of those people that wants to get in on the early play testing. That's going to be the best way to do it. All right, guys, so make sure you're coming back to the channel. Besides this, I am doing other games. I'm doing other what they call cozy games, but I do a lot of simulation games that would be here on this channel. Make sure you guys stay tuned in for that. But thank you guys for all being here. For those of you guys that have been with me for over a decade, I appreciate it. For all of you guys that are new, welcome to the channel. This is what you're going to get. Anybody who knows me, I'm not going to come sugarcoated. If games is bad, they're bad. If they're good, they're good. If you need to do something, I'm going to tell you that. There is no amount of money or no prize or game codes I could be offered to lie about a product. So you know you're always getting a genuine review here. So, guys, again, thank you for tuning in. I hope everything's going well for you guys. If you guys have any prayer requests, you could drop them down in the box. I'll be happy to pray with you or about them. As always, peace, love, keep rocking out, and I'm going to catch you guys on the next one.